Welcome back to Digiburst, guys. Today I'll be showcasing my yellow armor deck that you might have seen on the channel quite recently with a few matches. I've only had my hands on BT8 for about a week, so this deck is very experimental and I think it's going to go through a lot of changes as we go into BT8. Another cute thing about this list is that this deck is generally not on anyone's radar. A lot of people are talking about Imperial, Armor Rush, Yellow, Purple, Geography. This deck is much different to those sort of builds and hasn't really had much showing in Japan, so I'm glad to be taking a little bit of innovation and showing just what the English release can do in terms of finding new decks and new strategies. So without further ado, I'm just going to go straight into the eggs. For Coromon, this is probably the best egg for yellow simply because it has a way to DP drop, and this deck is all about board control and DP dropping. So definitely the best egg so far. We might get a better egg in BT9 when that comes out. I think there is a DP dropper in BT9. No, don't quote me on that, I'm not entirely sure. If you want to run a 5th egg, because sometimes this deck can go quite into the long game, you can run the yellow Rapidmon. I think that would be the next best egg. On to rookies. For the Padma, this one has the effect to gain you back a memory if you DP drop an opponent's Digimon to 0. Probably the best rookie of the entire deck, because getting that memory gain is really nice to go to further extend your plays into Geography and perhaps even into Omega, and then really do some big damage. You're also going to get that memory gain quite often, simply because you're doing so much DP dropping in this deck. It's crazy. We've also got, for the Armadillo, this one searches you a 2-color card that includes a yellow color. We've got a lot of dual color yellow cards in this deck, I think about 12, so you're going to get quite a lot of hits with this guy. 4 of the new Padma that lets you DNA Digivolve at the end of your turn. Ideally, this would actually be the yellow Salamon from the starter decks, but unfortunately my locals hasn't gotten their hands on my yellow starter decks yet. So in a few days I should be able to swap this out, and it will be a slight improvement from that. But generally you do want this card to be yellow, so you can evolve it into our Rapidmon, because Rapidmon can only evolve over yellows and greens. The final rookie is 3 Starmons. Starmon's really good to finish up your DP dropping to get enough DP to kill a Mega once you stack it all up. Really solid card. You don't go very wide in this deck, so you will only be getting like a -2 or a -3000 from the Starmons, but that's plenty when you are accumulating a lot of minus DP. 3 Rapidmon and 3 of the Angemon. In testing I was running 4 and 4, but I'm finding that because this deck is so reactive, you're only going to get these effects off maybe twice per game. And if you have those extra copies in your hand, they're just sort of dead cards, waiting for your opponent to play into them. Angemon and Rapidmon in particular are extremely reactive, so I ended up swapping them, the 4th copies out for more proactive cards, especially when your opponent isn't playing into your strategy. Next we've got 2 of the Magnum. Super good card. You want to play this into late games. He's super beefy when you've got when you have a good amount of armors in your trash. You can also play him down using the last of your memory to pass turn as a blocker to save your butt when you need it. Rounding out the champions, we've got 2 Tobinumon and 1 Kazimon. This is particularly good for Geography because Geography evolutions without actually Geography is 4 cost, but you can hard play it for 3 cost and then get the Geography evolution for a little bit cheaper. And in this way, you will actually get the additional Geography evolution effect for one of the level 5s, so super good to have it. And the Kazimon is just there to close out games in the late game, and you can potentially use it to either up if you want to be passive. So that's the extra card that I put in to replace one of the Angemons. On to level 5s, we've got 4 of the Shakumon and then 3 of the Chimeramon. Shakumon's absolutely amazing, gives you an extra security when you evo up if you have 5 or less. Can easily go up to 6 security in this deck even more. And it also has an additional effect for when you Jogress, it bounces a Digimon up to the same security that you have. So you're going to be holding your Shakumons a lot in order to control the board in that way. Because a lot of the time your opponent will wait out your security so they can avoid like the Angemon effects to do a lot of damage all in one turn. And in that way they can fall into the trap that is Shakumon and have their really big guy bounce the hand. Super solid. Chimeramon also really good for DP control. Flows just fits perfectly into yellow. It's actually kind of easy to get the Chimeramon up to 4 colors because it's white. You can have a yellow blue underneath it naturally from the Evo, and then through its effects you can put a Rapidmon underneath it, and then it'll have 4 colors. That will do minus 4,000 to a Digimon. A lot of the time with the DP accumulation you have, that minus 4,000 is enough to kill a bunch of rookies or champions, or even kill megas once you've accumulated enough DP. Especially with Rapidmon's effect for minus 5,000. And then once it's 4 colors, it's 12k, and you can smack over pretty much anything that way. Also, the DP reduction lasts for the end of your opponent's turn. That can often put your opponent's Digimon out of commission because they'll be too low DP to actually do proper damage. Also, one thing I forgot to say is that the Shakumon has a Heron effect for minus 3,000 DP on your opponent's Digimon, and this isn't once per turn. But that's a very important effect that I'll cover later. But you can also put it under the Chimeramon through the Chimeramon's effect, so when it swings, it's going to do even more damage with the minus 3,000. And that will be on top of like the minus 4,000 from the Chimera, minus 3,000 from the Shakumon, 7,000. And then if you went into a Rapidmon, that's like minus 12,000. That's ridiculous. Well, on a bunch of Digimon. Anyway, moving on. The only megas to Wargravemon. Wargravemon's really good for extending your plays when you're in the late game. Once you've established a nice strong lineup and taking control of the entire board, you want to go into Wargrave to keep pushing pressure, because this will do 2 damage on its own. And if you put a Shakumon underneath it, this is minus 12,000 over 2 swings. Because you will swing, add a security to your hand and do minus 6,000, then do the Shakumon to do minus 3,000, freestand, and then swing again. Shakumon will activate again and then do minus 12. There was one time where my opponent had a 12k blocker with the black X antibodies, and I just did this and took out his entire line. It was pretty nuts, especially when he was trying to establish that line over 3 turns. Pretty much just wasted those 3 turns for him. It was kind of sick. On to Tamers. For Chody. Chody is such a stupid, dumb, crazy card. So much synergy in this deck because you've got so many multicolored cards. So you've got the Shakumon, you've got the Chimeramon, this will be multicolored, the Magnum, the Rapid, and even the Angemon are multicolored. So all those cards can do the minus 2,000 DP with the Chody effect. You're also going to get a free memory when you have a yellow Digimon at the start of your main phase. This includes when you raise your Digimon out of the nursery, because of course the nursery phase is before the main phase. So if you have 3 Chodys on the board, they'll have the accumulated effect of minus 2,000 when you swing with a Digimon of multiple colors. So when you swing with these, minus 6,000, if you had Digivolved into a Rapidmon at the start of your turn, you can do minus 5,000 on your opponent's Digimon, because you've also got 3 Tamers. So you'll be suspending 3 Digimon through that effect, minus 5,000 for all of them. This will kill a lot of champions, but also when you swing, you can be very selective with the Chodys. You can do a minus 2,000 to one of the ultimates that might kill it, and then minus 4,000 on a Mega, and then use the Rapidmon to run over the Mega. It's just so strong, so strong. In this way, Rapidmon, you can just absolutely protect the board. And once you have that complete dominance over a board like that, you just keep running with that advantage. And eventually you'll accumulate enough damage to take out the rest of your opponent's security, while you are constantly outing their board through Chody effects, through Rapidmons, through Shakumons. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Next Tamers. 2 Karis, 1 TK. These are both memory centers. Kari's a little bit better than TK because there is a risk of potentially seeing your security and not having a yellow card to grab. In particular, we have the Chimeras and the Tobys and the Padmons. I mean, these guys are going to be Salamons when I get starter decks, which would be yellow, so don't worry about that. But because of those 5 cards, there is a potential risk of that. That's why TK is at 1. And Kari is generally just better for the deck anyway, because you do have a couple of effects that do give you security gaining. So getting that +1 memory gain is actually pretty relevant. So for security gain, we of course have the Rapidmon and the Angemon. But also when we go into options, we've got the Reinforcing Memory Boost too. So on to options, now that we're there. Reinforcing Memory Boost, just really solid card. For passive plays, 2 memory boosts, 1 reinforcing, 1 yellow memory boost. This is the other card that I switched out the Rapidmon for. Just because you just want more passive plays, so the yellow memory boost is just there. Also, because you're not evolving too much, going up into a line, you are not drawing as much, so consistency needs a little bit of help in this deck. So, those are the 2 memory boosters. For security bombs, we've got 2 Wyvern's Breath and then 2 Disaster Blasters. These are DP dropping guys. Wyvern's Breath can basically just out anything. These are things you'll be wanting to see in your security in order to out boards that plan to do really big swings in one turn in order to play around your strategy. So, and Disaster Blaster also has the effect where if you have a Digimon that is 2 colors on the board, it's actually -6,000 for a Digimon instead of -3,000. Disaster Blast is just really good for accumulating enough DP in order to out a Mega or run something over. Just super solid cards all around, and really good for security bombs. Last 2 cards is Blinding Ray and Ice Wall. Ice Wall is really fun because you actually do play a lot of blue cards, so Ice Wall, a lot of the time, is live in the right moments. You're only playing the 1 Blinding Ray because it doesn't have the security effect, and you don't generally want to be shredding your own security. But if you do need it, if you just need that extra bit of memory in order to keep turns so you can push out damage, then Blinding Ray is perfect for that. And that'll wrap up the entire deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing a lot of experimenting with this build. If you want to see this deck in action, you can check out the matches I've already got on the channel. I've also got a giveaway links below. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed, comment on that video for your most anticipated deck of BT8, and of course like the video. Check that out and I'll catch you next time, guys.